So, hello everyone. I'll be sharing my screen. So, since I did not meet you last week, we still continue the lesson and watch this video as part of your asynchronous activity na lang. So, since we were done with the um since we were done to introduce the law professions, the lawyer and its legal secretary, now let's proceed to the duties of the legal secretary inside the law office or the law firm. So let me share my screen to you all. So the lesson 3 is the duties of the legal secretary. So is-sum up ko lang yung mga activities na binigay ko sa inyo sa e-mabini portal. So one of the duties of a legal secretary is that they handle the receptions and the calls. So one of the responsibilities and duties of the secretary is that of course, there must be a use of a good manner, judgment, and discretion. So kapag legal secretary ka, you must have your own critical judgment and discretion on how you say and handle things. And especially, dapat may good manners ka on how you talk to people or to your clients. So pangalawa is never give legal advice. So, secretary ka lang. You were never in a position like the attorneys or the lawyers in the firm to give a legal advice. So, only the lawyers can give legal advice and not the secretary. So, if they ask question, what will happen to them, if natalo yung kaso, ano yung mangyayari kapag ganito, you can never give a legal advice. You can only talk to them regarding their schedule appointment, kung kailan yung meeting with the lawyer. So that is only your responsibility and never give opinion or legal advice regarding the case that the lawyers handle. So ayun. Next is maintaining goodwill with the callers, of course, and judge which clients the lawyer will see. So, if ikaw kasi yung legal secretary ng mga lawyer, syempre, they will have some clients inside the law firm, then you will be the one who will schedule those calls na marireceive mo if ever na magkakaroon sila ng appointment with this lawyer. So, some calls are new calls na magpapa-appoint pa lang na they want to examine their case kung they want to have the engagement to the lawyer. So yun, and there are some clients na they're already the clients and usually the secretaries already know how to handle those clients because dati na silang client ni attorney. So ayun, you must have a warm and cordial voice, hindi masyadong aggressive and matapang dun sa mga clients na yun. So technically ganun lang. Next, duties and responsibility ng isang secretary, yung telephone courtesy. So, yun lang, you must answer promptly. You keep the pad and pencil ready. Usually, this is a very important duties of a legal secretary. Once you receive a call, kunin mo agad yung notebook mo or yung sticky note mo and the pen and write all down the information provided by the client or even kapag tumawag, especially kapag tumawag yung abogado do'n sa law firm niyo. So, you have to write everything down, write the information down. So, it really helps talaga if you know steno. Ang problem ng si steno is you're the only one who can understand your writing. So, mas maganda din na you can write in a longhand, then para mabasa rin ng mga attorneys yung mga conversation mo with the clients or other people through the phone. So, do not interrupt, listen attentively where you're in a phone call, let them finish their statement and politely answer them do not interrupt them, and pakinggan niyo lang mabuti kung ano yung sasabihin nung nasa kabilang linya. Always say thank you at the end or goodbye so they will know that the call is ended. As for me, I always say thank you at the end if they were asking for information, or you can say goodbye depending on the context of the phone call. So make record of calls. So usually naman I don't usually the records will only apply to kapag may Zoom meeting, you can record it, or G-Link or Teams meeting, you can record it. However, if a regular phone call, you can also record it. Pero kapag ano lang burner yung phone na ginamit mo yung dipindot, cannot record it, ang gagawin mo na lang is you write down all the information. So technically, ganun lang. You answer promptly, keep your notebook and pencil with you, listen attentively, do not interrupt when someone is talking on the other side of the phone, and before you end the call, say thank you or goodbye and make the records of call. So yun lang. Next responsibility kapag meron namang incoming call. So how do the legal secretary handle this? So kapag may incoming call, take accurate message. So, handle i-reply calmly. So, kapag merong mga incoming calls na sobrang iritado ng mga caller na yon, like sobrang galit na sila usually kasi it's a law firm. So, you must expect that there are some instances or calls na talagang hindi magsasang-ayon sa inyo. Then, may mga callers talaga na talagang galit sila when they will call you. And as a legal secretary, you must handle this calmly and talk to them properly. So secretaries must not quote fees. You're not allowed to quote fees and offer appointments if needed. If they really want to settle or compromise with the attorney, if they really wanted to talk with the lawyers in the firm, you can suggest or offer, if you want po, we can make an appointment with attorney A so you can discuss the conflicts or the problem of the case. So may mga ganon. So you can do that as a legal secretary. So if nag-agree, then schedule the appointment, inform the attorney. Of course, bago ka syempre schedule ng appointment, check also the schedule of your attorney, kasi one of the responsibility of the legal secretary is all the schedules of the attorneys in the firm. So para walang magka-conflict kapag may mga meetings, may hearings, and may appointment with the other people. So next is handling appointments and clients. So most typically, merong mga walk-ins yan, mga walk-in client. So, paano mo sila i-handle? Halimbawa, there is stranger seeking legal advice. Again, you cannot give legal advice as a legal secretary. If they really want to settle the case, or they really want someone to handle their case, or they really want to have a legal advice regarding on their case, kapag hindi available si attorney dun sa firm na yun, nung araw na yun nag-walk-in siya, then you have to schedule an appointment. Again, check the schedule of the attorney kung available din ba sila dun sa schedule mo at appointed, of course, because that is one of the responsibility of a legal secretary, is to know all of the schedule and when, what, how will you schedule their appointment. So, the next one is you prioritize clients with appointment. Siyempre, uunahin mo yung mga already scheduled appointments na. So, before you schedule another appointments. So, kapag sunod-sunod yan, andyan sila, then may walk-ins, then dun sa walk-in, may nag-walk-in na client na hindi naman nakaschedule today. However, there is a client that talaga nakaschedule today, you prioritize yung nauna, of course. So, that is a basic manner and courtesy to those who is scheduled first. So, manage hysterical clients, tactfully. So, mga hysterical clients talaga nagwawala, ganyan, hindi nila ma-accept yung nangyari sa kaso or they have a very, huge case na naranasan. Siguro nagkaroon ng away, agawan ng lupa, nanakawan, and something like that. You need to stay calm, compose yourself, and talk to them properly. Wag mo silang sasabayan, wag mo silang sisigawan. Again, you are a legal secretary and one of your responsibility is to stay calm and manage the situation properly. And there are rules in accepting gifts and invitation. So there are only limitation. You cannot accept gifts and invitations anytime. It must be an approval or permission with the lawyers. Hindi lang basta-basta kukuha ko lang kung kani-kanino, and the invitation must be with the approval of your lawyers in the firm. So, ayun lang. Then next, files and records. So, dapat meron kang client business files. So, as a legal secretary, you organize all the files, you separate them properly. Kapag sa legal office, may kanya-kanya yung box or filing room which they are already separated. So, merong collection files, of course. Merong mga personal files ng mga lawyers dun sa firm. And personally, nung naging legal secretary ako, talagang meron silang personal files and doon nila nilalagay yung mga personal files nila separate from the case files. So, correspondent files, din yung mga letters, periodical, and numeric filing system. It depends. It depends kung anong kind of filing system na meron kayo sa law firm. Again, yung sa amin naman, pwede siyang alphabetical or naka-docket number siya. Kung yung sa case number ng case, so it is arranged numerically that way, or it can be arranged from the surname of the client. So, we will know kung paano siya, dukutin agad, like agad-agad because it was arranged alphabetically, and lahat ng civil cases, admin cases, criminal cases, and other cases, ginawa ko, color coding sila. So, kapag criminal case, it is in a red folder, civil case is in a yellow folder, admin case in a violet folder. So, para kapag makita ng mga attorneys yun, alam nila kung saan nila hahanapin yung mga folders na yun. So, that is one of the responsibilities of a legal secretary in a law firm. So, hindi naman siya mahirap kapag nasanay ka naman day by day, you'll be familiarized with yourself with those kind of filing system. And I'm proudly na ako yung gumawa ng filing system namin sa law firm namin. And hopefully hanggang ngayon sana na, ginagamit pa din nila yung ginawa kong filing system. Yung filing system ko din, I encoded it again in the Excel sheet. So kapag may new incoming files or cases, I encode them sa sheet, and para meron silang copy sa Excel sheet, and at the same time meron silang hard copy in the filing. So, ayun lang. So, next is handling mail. So, kapag may incoming mail, the with the permission of the lawyers, usually you have the permission because you are the secretary. So, ikaw ang gumagalaw para sa kanila. You can start the date and classify and read and record all the incoming mail. So, usually ko talaga yung may responsibility din. Nung secretary ako, lahat ng mail na matatanggap ko, I will go to the um, mail room, then nandun yung number ng ano namin, ng building ng unit namin, then kukunin ko lahat ng mail. Kino-collect ko sila everyday, then I open it one by one, except you have to categorize yung mga personal mail ng ka-attorney. Pero halimbawa, kapag ito ay mga court mails na addressed to the office, I will open then check the schedule hearing, then I will input then sa Google Calendar or doon sa whiteboard namin, then schedule ko na sila. Then I will inform that the attorneys that I already received email na meron po silang schedule for next week, for the next month, and so on. So kapag may outgoing mail naman, the secretary has a responsibility to check the addresses, the enclosures, the signature, and of course, i-fold na maayos and insert properly doon inside the envelope. So, technically, that's it lang naman. So next is the legal secretary has this kind of duties, bookkeeping duties. So um, whether they don't have a bookkeeping certificate, the legal secretaries is still responsible sa recording fees sa mga court costs. Sila yung uh, usually keeping it in record, yung mga process fees, mga documentary stamp, and yung mga postage. So, they usually, the one din na keep in track dito sa mga fees na to. So, even the day-to-day expenses, sila pa rin. So next, preparing legal documents. So as a legal secretary, I still do dictation and takes in. So I still prepare legal papers. So preparing lang naman kapag simple contract and I can do it. Like yung mga pinagawa ko sa inyo last time, the affidavits na pwede nyo naman ma-search sa internet and pwede mo naman gayahin yung template na yon. Then, ikaw na lang magfi-fill in nun, then i-change mo lang yung names, kung ano yung mga important details needed. So, technically, gano'n. Notary duties kapag may nagpapa-notary. Yun sa law firm ko kasi, it's a law firm, at the same time, it is a notary public. However, the secretaries are not allowed to permahan, i-stamp, or i-seal yung mga documents. The secretaries has the responsibility only to collect all the documents that need to be notarized and present it to the notary public lawyer na kung sino talaga yung authorized to do that. Then legal instruments, so yan yung mga pleadings and many more. So, ayun nga. So, ano ba yung mga legal instrument? Halimbawa, still affidavit. So, pinagawa ko kayo last time na it is a written statement of facts made by a person who swears under oath. So, take note, it it is a written statement na nag-swear ka under oath. So, kapag anything that you put in the affidavit is false, you can be held liable under the law. So meron naman tayong tinatawag na na special power of attorney. I think some of you or most of you actually is familiar with the special power of attorney. When you authorize, it is a written authorization when you give another person an authority to present on behalf of yourself kapag for example na you cannot manage to handle this case, you can authorize another person, pero in a way of special power of attorney, which is notarized. Kapag sinabi mo kasing notarized itong mga documents ito, it is already a public instrument. Public instrument is much stronger than private instrument. Once the private instrument, for example, is already notarized by the notary public, it will become a public instrument. So, legit na instrument siya na you can submit as evidence, as strong evidence to the before the court. So, meron naman tayong tinatawag na will. So, again, a will is a legal document which a person, yung testator, states how their property will be distributed bago sila mamatay. So, you can leave your house or money to your children or to another person. That is by executing a will and testament. So, agreement, usually this is a normal contract between two or more party that expresses kung ano ba yung gusto nilang gawin. Halimbawa sa certain agreement nila and they will put it into writing. So example of this, the very common is the lease agreement, the employment agreement, and so on. So may tinatawag naman tayong subpoena. Subpoena is a legal order requiring a person to appear in court or to produce a document in a case. So, ah ano lang, for additional information lang, there are two kinds of subpoena. Mayroong subpoena ad testificandum and subpoena ducis tecum. So, subpoena ad testificandum, it is you were subpoena to testify before the court, and subpoena desus tecum is to bring the document. So, for example, the court can order a subpoena desus tecum before a company, meaning they can subpoena the company to bring the documents of the court. If they were subpoena by the court has the power or the authority na to take away those um not the person, those documents which is necessarily in proving the case. So meron naman tayong subpoena at sorry, nabubulol na yan. Testificandum is a subpoena against the person to testify in the court. So, iba pa to sa summons, iba pa yung subpoena. So, yun. So, ayun lang. So, for the next one is, so laktawan na natin yung lesson 4. Lesson 4 is only a legal terminologies. You can read it. You can read it naman ng sarili nyo. It's a very basic thing. Then, you have to familiarize with those legal terminologies lang naman. And, again, it was already provided in your activities, yung mga legal terminologies na nandun yung affidavit, subpoena, and so on. Yun yung mga common legal terms na you will encounter if you were a legal secretary in a firm. So, um, eto naman yung lesson 5, it is the court, their function, and their jurisdiction. So, bear with me guys. Ang ginawa ko lang dito is a sample picture lang kung what it looks like. Kasi I already provided you an activity kung ano yung mga different kinds of courts and tinanong ko sa inyo kung ano yung function nila and jurisdiction. So, eto, sobrang dami nilang function as a court. However, we'll only tackle the very common function lang ng court ng certain court na 'to just to visualize um, kung paano ba 'to nangyayari. Kasi as a legal secretary halimbawa may filing ka sa Court of Appeals, may filing ka sa RTC, may filing ka sa MTC. So, you have to know when and where to file and ano bang relation nito ng mga court nito with each other. So, let us discuss. So, nag-provide lang ako dito ng picture. So, ayan. Wait lang. So, eto, ang pinaka nasa taas is the Supreme Court, which is the highest court in the land is the Supreme Court. Yan yung pinaka mataas. So, meron naman tayong tinatawag na third level courts, which is the Court of Tax Appeals, the Court of Appeals, and the Sandigan Bayan. And the second level court is the Regional Trial Court. And the first level courts, ito yung Metropolitan Trial Court. And I think some of you are familiar with this, the Municipal Trial Court in cities, Municipal Trial Court, and Municipal Circuit Trial Court. So, magkaka-level lang tong mga first level courts na 'to. Again, meron tayong first level courts. We have regional trial courts, which is the second level courts. The third level courts are the Court of Tax Appeal, the Court of Appeals, and the Sandigan Bayan. And meron naman tayong Supreme Court, which is the highest court of the land. So let us discuss. So yung MTC, MTCC, MTC, MCTC, usually ito yung mga lowest court. Meron din namang eto, if you're within Manila, makikita niyo 'tong Metropolitan Trial Court, MTC, Municipal Trial Court. Usually they are placed in the City Hall, Manila City Hall, then andun lang yung MTC. Magkakatabi lang yan with different branches. So, ang function ng isang MTC is that itong mga first level courts, they handle, halimbawa, in criminal cases, they handle libel case or mga criminal cases, less than 6 years imprisonment. So, lahat ng um, mga krimen or mga criminal cases na may penalty na less than 6 years and below, they will be under the jurisdiction of the first level courts, which is the Metropolitan METC, MTCC, MTC, and CTC. So, the first level courts. So, kapag halimbawa naman if collection of sum of money, so yung mga assessed value is less than 2 million and the real property is less than 400,000 pesos. Sorry if medyo technical. So, kapag less than, halimbawa yung assessed value ng isang property is less than 400,000 pesos and lahat ng collection fees is less than 2 million pesos, then ang may jurisdiction ng mga ganitong civil cases is the first level court. Ito, mga nasa baba. And usually, ito yung mga summary proceedings na tawag dito, they were the one who handles traffic violations, rental laws, so mga violation ng ordinances dun sa ano natin, mga barangay, sa mga local municipal natin. So, kapag na-violate natin yung mga ordinances na yon, then we will be held liable under these first level courts. So, regional trial courts naman are next in line with the first level courts, which is ito nga, again, it is a second level court. Ano naman hinahandle ng cases? So, technically, ang hinahandle ng regional trial court are those cases na in criminal cases, yung mga hinahandle ng RTC is the may yung 'di ba kung sa first level court is less than 6 years imprisonment yung punishment, yung regional trial court naman is more than 6 years. Yung mga crimes committed is more than 6 years imprisonment. And kung sa first level courts, kung yung sum of money, collection of money, um, is less than 2 million. Sa ano naman, sa RTC, sa Regional Trial Court, is more than 2 million. If kapag assessed value naman ng isang real property is more than 400,000 pesos, so, may more than, then the RTC has jurisdiction over the case. So, technically, ganun lang din yon. Then meron naman tayong tinatawag na third level courts, which is the Court of Tax Appeals, Court of Appeals, and the Sandigan Bayan. So dito muna tayo sa Court of Appeals. So Court of Appeals is the Court of Appeals. So kapag halimbawa there are decisions halimbawa sa um etong sa sa first level court, si defendant did not agree with the decision of the MTC, then inakyat siya sa region trial court, which is may appellate jurisdiction rin naman ng ang regional trial court kapag si defendant inapila niya pa sa RTC. Then si defendant not satisfied with the decision of the RTC, now they can proceed to the Court of Appeals. So, Court of Appeals are the one who handles the appeals. Kung halimbawa ito sa may mga certain decisions yung mga RTC that the siguro yung complainant or the defendant did not agree with the decision of this second level court or the RTC, they can appeal it to the Court of Appeal. So, there are instances na ay talagang hindi sila agree sa decision ng CA or ng Sound Court of Appeals. They will now elevate it to the Supreme Court. So may mga cases kapag umabot yan ng Supreme Court, ang dami ng pasapasahan yan, inapila nila, did not agree with the decision, then aakyat at aakyat yan sa Supreme Court. So technically, yung eto, they were aligned with this so kung makikita niyo yung mga branches, so appeal, appeal, appeal hangga't umabot tayo sa Supreme Court. So, sa Court of Tax Appeals, kailangan niyo lang tandaan dito, kapag nag-handle for example 'tong Regional Trial Court ng mga tax cases, then, hindi agree yung isang complainant or the defendant in this case, they can appeal it sa CTA or the Court of Tax Appeal. So, there are usually handles the tax cases regarding ano, so dito papasok yung Commissioner Internal Revenue, so yan yung mga BIR, Commissioner Customs, yun yung Bureau of Customs, so Central Board of Assessment Appeals, so diyan papasok yung custom cases, yung Secretary DTI, Agriculture. So those all of that handles by the Court of Tax Appeal. Kung sa Sandigan Bayan naman, sa Sandigan Bayan usually ito yung mga public officer na meron silang salary grade na SG-27. So kung public official sila and meron silang salary na salary grade na 27, and may ginawa silang crime, then they can be held liable under the Sandigan Bayan. So, if they committed a plunder case, an Anti-Corruption Act, mga ill-gotten wealth by the Marcoses, then they can be held liable under the Sandigan Bayan. So, technically, the Sandigan Bayan handles the public officials. Yung mga mayors, mga vice mayors, mga basta any public officials. So kapag meron namang conflict again sa decided case sa Sandigan Bayan, they can raise it up or they can elevate it up to the Supreme Court. Supreme Court is the highest court of the land. They handle the final and executory cases kapag inapil at inapil mo pa. So, this is the final stop point ng mga kaso. Kung ano ng desisyon ng Supreme Court, that is final and executory. So, ayun lang siya. So, technically, yun lang yung kailangan yung tandaan. Itong Sharia naman, this is a Muslim court. So, meron silang sariling sariling circuit court and district court, and they can elevate the decision to the Supreme Court. So, may sarili rin silang bar exam that is different pa sa bar exam ng mga abogado dito sa yung mga Muslims, they have their own bar exam then to qualify and to practice under the Sharia court. So, technically, ganun lang naman siya. Yun lang muna yung basics. Pero kasi, itong mga courts na to has a very long type of discussion and function and jurisdiction that it will take us whole day to discuss each of one of them. So, pero syempre, we'll only go on the basic and will not discuss kung ano pa yung mga yung mga in-depth functions and jurisdiction ng bawat isa. So, yun lang yung tandaan nyo na there are existing level, may mga hierarchy yung courts na kung saan they only handle certain cases and appeal cases hanggat sa umabot sa Supreme Court. So, ayun lang guys, yun lang yung discussion natin for tonight, and I hope na may natutunan naman kayo for this semester. So technically, aralin niyo lang yung mga lesson na binigay ko sa inyo, and that will be, yun lang din yung mako-cover ng final examination. And I want to thank you guys na again, giving the opportunity for me to teach, and ayun lang. So, thank you all, and sana may natutunan kayo dito sa course na 'to, and sana, very light lang siya, sa inyo, and um, hindi siya masyadong mabigat para sa inyo. So, ayun lang. So, study well. So, we'll have our final examination in kailan ba? January? So, January. So, we'll have our final examination. So, ayun lang, very um short and quick discussion lang. Hindi ko na-discuss again yung lesson 4. You can read it on your own. It's only legal terminologies na ano, basahin niyo na lang yung mga definition that will be also included in your final examination. So, ayun lang. Thank you all, and thank you for listening.